Hello everyone, this is Allegedly Caleb, and today we're going to be taking a look at Smolensk 43, which is part of the Panzer Campaigns series that WDS, or Wargame Design Studios, created. So this individual game, Smolensk 43, was first created about a year ago, and this is the first time that it's on sale, and on sale it is off for about 30 US dollars you can get it for. Normally it's about 40. So every week WDS releases a game of theirs on sale for about the same 25% discount. And this is this week's. So we're going to be taking a look at it. We're going to take a look at the scenarios. So far, this has been, I think, the third or the fourth big Soviet offensive 1943 game that they've released. The last couple ones that they've released are Kursk. They released Operation Rumestead. They released Orel 43, and all of these kind of took place around a similar time. So we're going to be taking a look at this, and this one, essentially the theme is the Soviets, which they're strong. They're very strong in this game. The Soviets are attacking a German fortified line trying to retake Smolensk, which the Germans had not lost since 1940, or had not they'd held since 1941. So let's go ahead and take a look at the main campaign, Operation Suvorov, first phase. And this isn't necessarily the main campaign. There's actually a couple campaigns that all have a decent amount of turn size. So this is 148 turns. And then you've got Smolensk to Roslavy. That one is, well, actually, let's go in order. You've got Yelna Dorobuj. This one's about a little over 100 turns, so that takes place August 28th. Operation Suvorov takes place August 7th, and then Smolensk Roslavy takes place September 14th. So just 2 days ago, which I believe is why this went on sale at the time it did. So let's take a look first at Suvorov first phase. And we want to do the one that is suitable for head-to-head. Here we go. Alright, so first thing we always do is take a look at the overall map. So this red box is a snippet of what we're looking at on our screen right here. And you can see this is a big map. So up here we've got Vyazma. Down here that's going to be Smolensk. And then we've got a couple other cities all around the area. So let's take a look at what this map looks like. Got a lot of units to play with. Now in these big types of scenarios, I usually like to try and split them up by having at least 2 players on each team. And that way you don't have as many units and counters you got to push around. But there are definitely people who play these games just 1v1, or even they're pretty manageable when you play them by yourself as well. I wouldn't recommend playing a huge campaign like this against the AI, because there's only a certain amount of scripting you can really do until the AI won't necessarily be scripted very well. Because the AI, there is a little bit going on, so it's not all 100% scripting, but most of the strategy the AI uses is from scripting. So anyway, I'd recommend you play with someone if you're going to do one of these big ones. The medium and small scenarios, yeah, those ones are great to play by yourself against the AI. Anyway, you can see lots of Soviet armor, mostly infantry up here though from what we've seen so far. Or at least not very many armored units. Any more armor that we can see? Not really. I mean, mostly you've got these tank battalions. Independent tank battalions. But not really any armored corps. Oh, that might be where they are. Yeah, lots of these independent tank battalions scattered around everywhere. Here's the big grouping, though. There we go. Yeah, you can see it on the map all right here. You even got guys in the background ready to push where the... Oh, here's more of them, I think. Yeah. Even got some units in the back ready to shore up where the armor takes off. Lots of guards units. That's what these red ones are. Mixed tank regiments. T-34s. More tanks. Not really seeing too many heavy tanks. It seems like at this point they were mostly just using these T-34s, and these might be T-70s. Yeah, they are T-70s. With some Su-76s. And occasionally some other types of tanks or armor. Assault tanks. So that's what the Soviets look like they're bringing. And you can see most of the front. Oh, here's some interesting tanks. Some Matildas. Those might be kind of out of date at this point. Some Valentines. More Valentines. Some Soviet-built tanks. Oh, here's some Su-152s. Those guys are cool. Now, I thought at this point the Soviets were still using KVs. Either they are not anymore or they're just on another front somewhere. But anyway, now we've looked at the Soviet units. We're going to take a look at some of the German units now. Go all the way back up to the top. Just to get an idea of what the Germans are bringing to the table. So most of their front line is split up in either companies or battalions. With some artillery dug in, you can see they've got some defensive lines built in already. So there does not look like they're expecting to hold these areas that long. Then you've got some German strength around their strong points, like Bereznevo. They've got a lot of different defensive lines to use too. And what I read is that in this battle, the Germans did a pretty good job at holding their ground. They only really retreated when they were in risk of being cut off. Here's another German strong point. You can tell it's a strong point when it's got a bunch of 88s all over the place. Got some Martyrs. Martyr 3s. We'll take a look at Smolensk once we're done looking at the rest of the German lines. Nice. It's another defensive line all along that river. Some Stugs. Seems like assault guns and anti-tank guns are going to be the most armor the Germans are going to have. I know at this point in the war, most of the German armor was down south. Not to say that that makes the Germans weak, though. They certainly do have a lot of decent units. Especially those 88s. Whew. Those 88s can really tear up armor. Alright, so that's the German front line. You've got a bunch of other lines. These guys aren't meant to be on the front line. They're not very good. Bicycle units. You got a bunch of the German secondary lines that they can fall back to with minefields built in. Here, let's open up the map to help guide us in our explorations. What are these? Oh, we got some units. Got a tank unit right there. Oh, looks like there's a... Yeah, there's 2nd Panzer Division is literally coming onto the map right now. From Roslavy. Got some more units just scattered around. What are these? Oh, more 2nd Panzer Div. Okay. So some of them are arriving on the map. They're not going to be entirely tankless, like I was thinking they might be. Got some guys who start in rail mode. Alright, now let's take a look at Smolensk. Here we are. Bunch of 88s dug in. Got some artillery that was assigned to Smolensk. Yeah, this won't be easy to take. Definitely not. Looked at that spot already. Interesting map. There's going to be a lot of different places to fight over. And the terrain, there's a lot of different terrain types, a lot of different ridges and rivers and forests. Yeah, a lot of different strategic roads that you'll have to think about keeping or cutting off if you're the attackers. Yeah, this is a really interesting scenario. Cool. All right, well, let's take a look at the next one. Let's sort by, by length. All right, now we're going to look at this one. There we go. That's for head-to-head. Okay. Okay, so this is a bit into the battle. There's Roslavy. Smolensk is not on the map yet. At this point, they're trying to take that area, I guess. Excuse me. Huge build up there, though. Wow. Let's see, do the units start off damaged at all? No, not really. Alright, well, we won't take a look at every unit now. So it looks like the Soviets infantry is... Oh, there's some KVs. The Soviet infantry is still pretty much at 100%, but the Soviet tank force is not. The Soviet tanks are all a little bit depleted. Looks like about between 70 and 80% most of the time, which is still pretty darn good. Gosh, look at all these units. That's crazy. Germans, too, still have decent numbers. Okay. And the further north we go, the more sparse everything will get. Except for this stuff, I guess. Alright, well, I want to take a look at some of the German units now. You can see they've got some new units on here. Bulk of them are over here, I guess. Lots of bunker lines that the Soviets are going to have to penetrate. Kampfgruppe. Ooh, so here's 2nd Panzer Div. Even got some self-propelled artillery. Stoke Battalion. Oh, they've got first. Is this 1st Panzer Div? No, 20th Panzer Grenz. Okay, so you got some mechanized infantry over here. Get all these units trying to hold out against this massive Soviet onslaught. Who's this? Oh, that might have been that other unit we saw. 20th Panzer Div. They're down here. So you got a couple Panzer divisions as the Germans. Not nearly as many tanks, though, as the Soviets have. Not nearly at all. And then you can see the Germans are dug in around here. Alright, well, let's take a look at that last campaign size scenario. Which will be this one, I believe. Find the one that's head-to-head. Guess this one is the best for head-to-head. Alright, here we are. Now this is to take Smolensk. Then you got even Orsha and Vitebsk. So this map adds a lot more. Interesting. Alright, we'll do the same thing we did earlier. I just want to take a look at the units that are here. So again, up north, that's not where we're really concentrating. Big concentration of troops are going to be as we go further south. Soviet tank forces at this point are like 60 to 70%, it seems. Most of the infantry seems to still be at 100%. Okay, got some KVs. Oh, you got some SS guys here now. That's what these gray ones are. Who's this? Reichsfuhrer? Oh, that's just a brigade. Okay. You can see they're actually rated average. So these aren't elite SS troops. These are just guys who are in the SS. Okay. Whew. Look at all these Soviets. It's crazy. There's so many. Jeez. And now they start to sparse out a little bit. Still a bunch of martyrs. Let's see, are there German units that we didn't see before? Mostly I'm looking for Panzer divisions, SS, those sort of guys. Martyr 3. Even in an independent heavy tank battalion would be interesting to see, but I don't think there were any of those on this front. Those were all kind of further south, if I remember right. Maybe I'll find one, though, and prove myself wrong. Those are always fun to have and to face in the game. Just one of those units that you focus a little more on than others. But you can see this isn't necessarily the best tank country. So you can see why they weren't really deployed up here. And even though the Germans did eventually lose Smolensk, it wasn't a rout by any means. Not like on other areas of the front where the Soviets absolutely blasted the Germans out of the way. Oh, here's some cool ones. The Hornies. Those kind of seem a little similar to the elephants. So that's probably the best German unit you're going to get. Tank-wise. Other than them, they've just got a lot of martyrs, but those tank destroyers without much armor are very difficult to use in these games. Very difficult to use effectively, I should say. These divisions are all Luftwaffe, or the German Air Force. This is a German field division. Those guys were kind of notorious for not really being very good. Interesting that you can see the buildup of the Smolensk defenses throughout each of these scenarios. But that is all I'm going to show. So I hope you enjoyed these. I hope you enjoyed this overview, and yeah, I'm looking forward to playing through some of these. There are a bunch of smaller scenarios too. Actually, let's take a look at those before we finish off here. We can get to at least 30 minutes. Here we go. Here's a couple examples of smaller scenarios you can play out. Usually they're snippets of the larger map, maybe with different victory objectives. 25th Infantry Division defense. Oh, this is an even smaller version of what we just looked at. Assault Buffel Stellung. Ooh. Jeez. See, lots of mines, and most of these units are in bunkers, but man, look at all those units. Here's another one. This one's a little bigger. Not huge though. Actually, there might not even, it might have almost the same amount of counters as the last one we looked at, even though the last one was objectively smaller in terms of map size. Okay, here's a much bigger one. This is, I would say you would call a medium scenario, or maybe even a large scenario. Yeah, that would be a fun one to play. Let's take a look at some others. Battle for the city Roslav. So at this point, you're trying to take that city right there. So another, I would call this one maybe a large scenario. Let's see, what does it classify itself as? Medium, okay. Yeah, so this is a medium scenario. Just to give you an idea of the scale of these games. But anyway, if you're interested and you end up picking up this game and my video helped you make that decision, let me know in the comments. I always enjoy seeing when you guys tell me that maybe I helped you make a decision. But anyway, everyone, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.